Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm Lennon. How you guys doing? And welcome back to the hype on the road to Total War Pharaoh. Today we are reacting to yet another video, and this one is called the Egyptian Faction Deep Dive. So let's get straight into it and see what my opinions are. And before we get started, I also want to know your opinions. So let me know them down in the comments. And if you do enjoy my opinion on this, if you do enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel as well. But nevertheless, here we are. Let's get started. And let's see how the Egyptians gonna play out. Of course, subjected to change in the alpha build.
The land of the pharaohs, one of the greatest civilizations ever known. A new age awaits. As Meneptah's final...
Is it though? Is it really one of the greatest civilizations? It's like the pyramids were already built, so...
years are upon us, the eyes of the Egyptian court and its people look to the prospective new leaders of their land. These leaders will be the characters you get to command in Total War Pharaoh. But how do the Egyptians play? How will they stem the tide of the Hittites, the Canaanites, and the Sea Peoples, as well as the collapse of the Bronze Age? A quick note before we begin, Total War Pharaoh is currently in development, so things may change between this video and release. The UI colors are also a bit different from usual here, as I've got colorblind options applied to help out, as I don't see some colors all that well. With this quick disclaimer out of the way, let's dive into the Egyptian factions. The prospective pharaohs...
I must say, I do like the way they are introducing us to Total War Pharaoh. It's like maybe that is something a problem as well, what they did with Troy was just throw us in the deep end with a new Total War without like introducing and getting us ready into the mechanics of the game. So it felt like everything was different at the same time. Whereas here they're slowly trying to transition you in their way of thinking, their way of thought, the way that you are used to play this. So I like these kind of videos, and I like to see what they have in store for us.
Of Egypt all have their own histories and links to Meneptah and the pharaoh's crown. On the border of Canaan in Sinai, we have Ramesses, begotten of the sun god Ra. Ramesses is young, ambitious, and ready to follow the path of greatness shared by his namesake. But
I don't know where I heard this. Well, I just remembered it, but I really like the idea of Ramesses has a bodyguard with archers in it because he's equipped with an archery weapon. If you equip him with a spear, he gets a spear unit as bodyguard. I like those small kind of details. I really like.
Ambitious and ready to follow the path of greatness shared by his namesake, but Ramesses II. A martial prodigy, Ramesses' youth brings him a speed and capability not shared by other characters. He'll need to utilize both of these in order to deal with the incursions at the Canaan border from the great raider, Ursu, whilst being aware of the dark cloud on the horizon. Further along the river in Hardai.
So Ramesses is probably what kind of harder starting point, because you have the top of the sea. For the Sea Peoples, you're bordering the Canaanites.
Seti, the son of Meneptah, skirmishes with the western desert tribes to prove his martial superiority and worthiness for the crown. While he's next in line to the throne by birthright, he would rather prove his worthiness with a display of power, a language he knows better than the parlance of the courts. Tauseret, on the other hand, has a very different approach to power than the other leaders. It's not about God-given rights or grandstanding, but having the keen mind and knowledge
We've seen her. I think I like her, like the way she plays. Like if I'm hearing this, she seems interesting.
Will be a better pharaoh than them. A methodical genius, Tauseret's strength lies in her intelligence. She starts in the deserts of Yebu in Upper Egypt. Through synergizing her provinces to bolster her economy, and working alongside Seti and whoever else she can sway to her line of thinking, she can maintain the majesty of this ancient empire. And lastly, really cool. Down in the south, we have Amenmes, the viceroy of Kush. Whilst Amenmes...
So, two of those, the Seti and Amenmesh, we haven't seen in the faction focus, so we'll probably see them somewhere in the upcoming weeks. But so you have four legendary lords, like factions in Egypt you can play as for a
is
start.
the eldest male heir. Seti is the designated heir. As powerful as a title like Viceroy of Kush may be, it's not nearly as powerful or attractive as Pharaoh. Being the Viceroy of Kush does come with its benefits, however. Benefits like control over Egypt's gold mines. Amenemhet knows that the true power over man isn't blood, but money. And he'll use this truth to fight his way back up to Mennefer, buying whoever he can to take back what he believes is rightfully his. With our leaders set on the stage, let's take a quick look at what makes them mechanically unique in their grab for power.
So, like, I have the idea that the Egyptians just purely have the race for Pharaoh before you start dealing with the Canaanites and all the sea incursions. So you have to deal with the internal conflict first before you can deal with the external conflict, which is kind of interesting.
Each journey to the Pharaoh's crown can take a multitude of paths.
And with that, if you are dealing with like the internal conflict and the rest of the map, the Canaanites and so are also dealing with their conflicts, it might be interesting to see if you get like 2 or 3 major powers. So you don't, at the end of the game, you're not steamrolling every small faction, but like you have to fight like a really big empire as well. So empire versus empire. That would be interesting as well.
Playing to their individual strengths. Starting with Ramesses, as a militaristic leader, he is an exceptionally capable warrior, efficient with any weapon handed to him. His elite warrior status is something also shared by his armies,
like that idea.
As while they are smaller in number, they are stronger and more elite than your average foot soldier. Not only does he wield incredible martial prowess, but he also harbors incredible speed, both on the field and in the courts. Per turn, he gets 2 court actions, while other leaders only receive 1. His unique buildings also factor his standing within the court and amongst his people. The necropolis of the honored dead bolsters happiness and influence within provinces. The wine markets also improve happiness, as one would imagine.
Oh, they are such unique buildings to his faction. I don't think we've ever seen that. Yeah, of course you've seen some buildings that others don't have, but like on this scale, I don't think so actually. Production of resources plus 12%.
The military academy brings out the best in his men, raising recruitment rates and making generals cheaper to recruit. It also fortifies the soldiers with a steady amount of experience, ensuring they do not head into the field greener than their counterparts. Seti, meanwhile, in many ways runs as an opposite to Ramesses. He cares little for the court, and prefers to speak in a language he understands fluently: war. Thankfully for him, he starts with an improved standing with Tausret, who understands the courts and diplomacy like the back of her hand. His starting army is large, and he begins his journey near all 5 resource settlement types, meaning he can kickstart his economy quite early, provided he removes whoever is controlling those settlements nearby. Seti's unique buildings exemplify his love for war, his depiction of ego, and his genuine lack of care for what anyone else thinks. The mustering office
recruitment slot, recruitment cost,
increases recruitment slots, as well as decreasing the cost of enlisting troops within a province. The recruitment administration center further drives down recruitment costs.
HP, newly recruited unit? What does that mean? Construction cost, recruitment cost. Okay, so he's bolstering like easy armies, cheap recruiting.
Whilst allowing you to train more troops
and fast
at the expense of the new enlist's well-being. Meanwhile,
okay. Troops. Like that's it. So you get 2 extra recruitment slots, but they start at 70% HP, so they need to heal for like 2 turns.
At the expense of the new enlist's well-being. Meanwhile, the tax administration palace continues its own way of obtaining spoils of war from amongst the populace, increasing production greatly at the cost of workforce growth and happiness. Lastly, there's Seti's royal palace, showcasing the kind of boisterous nature befitting of a prospective pharaoh of his stature. His troops look on with improved morale, whilst all other factions look upon it as unnecessary grandstanding from a potential tyrant. Tausret, meanwhile, understands the importance of structure and production lines, especially in trying times such as these. She starts with improved diplomatic relations with Seti, meaning she may gain assistance from Seti's forces. Militaristic might isn't Tausret's main strength or plan, however. It's production. While her unique structures may not bring happiness and joy to her people, they are a necessary slight. The provisioning head...
So, okay, now we have Ramses, which is basically an influence maniac at court. And you have Seti, which is basically a tyrant, a military bitch ass. And now you have Tausret, which is basically production value. Less army focused, more production economy focused. Okay. It's like, damn. Production all resource plus 20%. 40, 10, 20% adjacent provinces as well. Food plus 30%, recruitment cost minus 25.
Headquarters, Tausret's armory, Tausret's goldsmiths, and the storage center all provide their own powerful buffs, but they really begin to shine when you plan out your construction. Her machinations can be fragile, but once Tausret gets the ball rolling, she is a power with a momentum that cannot be stopped.
But if you have so many resources, you can just pump out armies.
We have Amenmess. As Viceroy of Kush, he has sway over his Egyptian counterparts, as he starts already with a standing within the Egyptian courts.
Okay,
his
so
unique structures symbolize his standing, as both a power over the Kushite people and as a man who recognizes gold's strength. The Kushite delegate school may be looked down upon by Amenmess's people.
Diplomatic relations with non-Egyptian factions, production, provinces, influence -3, workforce. So there's a lot of growth.
But it fosters growth in the workforce within the province, alongside increasing production, as well as improving diplomatic relations with non-Egyptian factions. The hidden rooms also provide a great boost in all resources, happiness, and
legitimacy, happiness. Gold upkeep is a little bit high, but you get like all your resources. Damn, that's good.
Even legitimacy to the throne at a very heavy cost of gold. But this cost means little to Amenmess, considering he has access to the gold mine labor villages. The amount of gold produced by this structure is very high, and while influence may drop the horrific reality of gold's manufacture, that's of no consequence when he can pay someone to look the other way. The lands of Egypt are vast. The Egyptians are masters of desert and surgical strike warfare. The units native to each region of Egypt bring their own strengths to conflict.
I was like, oh, well, are we not looking at the Canaanites? Well, in the first 10 seconds of the video, I literally said the Egyptian faction deep dive, not all faction deep dive. Okay,
if you wish to bring these units into your armies, you'll need to either branch out your conquest to these locations and take them by force, or foster diplomacy, alliances, confederation, and vassalization.
About certain units?
On the border of Canaan, you'll find the Sinai and Ret Jenu militia. Their forces contain a mixture of both quite expendable units to hold lines or harass, and very valuable additions to bolster your damage output.
Oh, so we have like region-specific units you can recruit if you have that territory. That is interesting. So you don't have like all the basic, everyone has just basic spears, basic archers. So you actually get some diversity in your armies once you start to expand more. That is, yet again, quite interesting.
On the border of Canaan, they do have many units in medium armor to stand toe-to-toe with Canaanite forces. And some of their number also have decent armor-piercing and breaking capabilities. In Lower Egypt, there's a decent mix of melee and ranged units to be found. This mix, however, does come at a bit of a cost, as they are not what you would particularly consider to be fine or noteworthy. They aren't a write-off, however, as many in their number have resistance to heat, and while they may lack skill, they do make up for this in number, perfect for any would-be warrior pharaohs wanting strength in overwhelming numbers.
So desert people, a little bit less strong, a lot of resistance to heat, probably larger unit sizes.
In contrast, the forces of Upper Egypt are a potentially very powerful addition to your defensive garrisons. Many Upper Egyptian melee units utilize medium armor, with the occasional light armored units to harass and provoke any enemy unwise to stand against them. This doesn't mean they're a slouch when it comes to offense, however. Like the rest of the Egyptian forces, they do have speed on their side, and they're exceptionally capable flankers, meaning they're able to deal big damage while holding out against any attackers of their own. In the deserts to the west lie the Lebu tribesmen and the west.
I really like the idea that you have like a little bit of a direction you need to go to recruit certain units. I do enjoy that.
Desert natives. The Lebu tribesmen forces are unparalleled desert warriors, fighting on sand as though it were mere ground. Resilient to the sweltering heat of high noon, they can march unharmed through attrition zones in the desert, and the blistering sandstorms that cross the dunes do little to affect their combat prowess.
So, wow, even sandstorms.
They are the masters of the deserts, and when war reaches through the land and the sandstorms roll in, you'd better pray to whoever you worship that they're on your side. And in the south of the map, you'll find the Nubian and Kushite forces. The Kushites and Nubians are primarily built around the strength of their archers. They have expendable units who can harass and keep enemies preoccupied, whilst archers with exceptional range rain down the arrows. The archers can also be defended with other units from this region, as there's decently skilled and armored spearmen and clubmen amongst their ranks. And lastly, there are the Pharaoh elite. When you take the crown, you'll have access to some of the best. Highly disciplined fighters.
Even being Pharaoh increases your army capabilities to destroy the heavily armored Canaanites.
Adorned in medium armor.
Interesting.
Having just one of these units amongst others can turn the tides of battle in your favor. It's not just the lands who bring units into play. Each leader comes with their own troops, unique to their army, playing to their strengths. But Ramesses' unique forces very much build upon his strengths as a leader. The Medjay and Sheridan that make up Ramesses' forces may not have the numbers that other factions exhibit, but their status as elite warriors who can adapt to whatever situation.
This is so much information. I thought this would be a fun, quick video, but this is turning into a heavy one. Holy shit, the amount of information that they just poured out in this one.
Situation is before them makes them a very formidable force. Fast and adept at flanking, many of his troops also have the underdog trait, meaning they thrive in fighting against multiple units at once, potentially outnumbered but rarely outclassed. Ramesses' retinue are a balanced and highly capable force. The levy soldiers that make up Seti's unique forces combine well with how he prefers to wage war. The lower tier units that make up his unique retinue compensate for their lack of skill with enhanced numbers, and, from a pragmatic view, the expendable trait. Seti's more elite troops won't rout, or potentially care upon seeing the lower tier units meet the jackals of Anubis. The more elite units in his personal militia are highly capable warriors, if a tad undisciplined. Many of them have the heedless charger trait, meaning they won't wait for orders to simply charge headlong into battle. Perhaps they seek to find glory in their leader's eyes, or maybe they're simply emulating an anger they've seen from him all too often. Tausret's forces truly showcase.
I was going to wait, like, where are the chariots? Like, all the different unit types, all the specific unit types, all infantry. Where the fuck are my chariots?
Case for devastating power of chariots. The speed and range of the chariots at her disposal mean they can cause a lot of damage to the enemy, whilst staying out of harm's way. That's not to imply that she only has chariots, however. Tausret's infantry offerings, such as the steadfast Queen's Guard, have excellent defensive capabilities and the speed to get to where they're needed as soon as possible. As talented as the archers in Tausret's army are, very few can compare to the forces that Amenemhotep's deep pockets can buy. The Kushite, Nubian, and Tarseti archers are among some of the most skilled and most feared in all of Egypt, with excellent range and
okay, I think I like that one as well. Like, if you know me, I like my missile units.
Devastating
I like my missile-based armies.
The archers Amenemhet can field
fire projectile skirmish, excellent missile range. 230 range. God damn. 18 ammunition. 35 missile damage. Only 45 units though.
Are an immediate threat to any force. The melee units within his retinue, including the Kushite Royal Guard,
strong against shields, resistant to flanking. Precursor javelins. 4 javelins with is 41 missile damage. God damn. 80 armor, melee attack, speed.
also have a
Probably gonna have to get used to the new weight class, all this stuff, but this looks interesting.
Fight,
looks
making
really cool.
Armin Mess's forces a terrifying sight indeed. We've covered the leaders you'll command and their motives, the armies they'll control, and the forces that await to join under their banners. There are dark days ahead. With the collapse of the Bronze Age on the horizon, how will you ensure that your people and your empire survive this apocalyptic event? With what we've covered in this video, we hope you're inspired to become a great pharaoh that history would be proud of. Are you ready to take on the mantle of Pharaoh?
I think I am. God damn. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, what a video this is. I was definitely not expecting this much information on one video so soon already, but holy shit, like this is giving me some good ass vibes with like the addition of certain things, like the way the leaders work. But the thing I find most interesting about this one, I think, is the fact that you have different units in different type of the land. Because like otherwise it would be Egypt would be spears and archers. That's basically it. But now you have an incentive to go west or to go south for more powerful archers. You have to the incentive to go west for hardened spears and clubs, and you have to go north if you want to get more heavy armored units, heavy missile units. I don't know what I all was, but this looks good. I'm actually pretty impressed. I wasn't expecting this, to be honest. Like, I had my doubts, but slowly but surely, I'm starting to feel better about this. So I'm really interested to see what your guys' opinions are after all this information, after this video. So please do let me know some of them in the comments down below. And be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are as interested as I am, because I'm definitely trying to cover all the content that is coming out about Pharaoh till the release of it. And we're definitely going to play this on the channel, either in videos or in live streams or both. So let's make that happen. So thank you guys for watching. And I don't know what I want to say. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.